Hello, good evening, and welcome. I've got a thumbs up from Steve, so we're going on YouTube with a link on Facebook. And Cole gave me a very dainty and polite thumbs up there. So we're live on Instagram as well. So hello and welcome everybody to our third and final candidate Q&A, where students get the chance to get to know some of your full-time officer candidates a little bit better. This evening I'll be hosting, again, apologies, my name's Jamie. I'm the Student Voice Manager at the Students' Union, and part of that role means that I'm Deputy Returning Officer, or the elections person. So that's why you've unfortunately got to look at me during these events as well. We are missing a couple of candidates this evening. There's an empty chair just there, and we were due to have a couple more people join us on Teams. Unfortunately, due to COVID diagnoses, family emergencies, and needing to cover shifts unexpectedly at work, not everybody was able to join us tonight. So do make sure that you check out all of our candidates' manifestos online. But for those of you who didn't watch last night or Tuesday's candidate Q&A, I'll be taking the candidates that we've got here with us through an introduction, some questions, a bit of a topic discussion, and then some bonus questions if we've got time at the end before they wrap up and say goodbye to you. As the other two groups that we've had at the other events, the candidates haven't seen any questions or topics in advance, so we're going to bear with you if you need a moment to think and collect yourself before you give an answer, take a sip of water or anything like that. But hopefully we'll all know you much better by the end of the evening. And I'm just going to do a final check. Martin, joining us from London, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can.
Excellent, everything's working. And please do bear with us if anything goes wrong. I'll try and fill in, but I can promise I will not be singing. So we will start with those quick 30-second introductions, and I will go to Dylan to kick us off. That works.
Yeah, sure.
Happy days. So yeah, 30 seconds just to introduce. Don't forget your slogan. Over to you.
So I'm Dylan, and I'm running, obviously, Louise. Yeah, so I want to help with society, sports teams, increase engagement, and other stuff. And where there's a deal, there's a way.
Excellent. Thank you, Dylan. And then if we go to Choto next, introduce yourself.
Hello guys, I'm Anasu, also goes by Choto, if you don't know me. I've been officer this year, bringing the sense of normality back onto campus. It's time to, well, it's been some gaps in the student experience, so it's time to work together and trying to bridge the gap together. So, yeah, let's go. Okay.
Real, thank you. Both very quick tonight. More time for questions. Martin, if we'll go to you next.
Alright, hey guys, I'm Martin. As you guys probably don't know me yet, I'm a graduating esports student down in London. I am all about trying to find a way for campus equality for the satellite campuses, providing them more opportunities, and how we as student unions can help the satellite campuses live. Yeah, that's technically what I'm all about.
Brilliant, thank you. And then finally we'll go to Hannah.
So hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I've been your president so far this year, and I'm rerunning for a second term. I've done quite a lot of work that I'm really proud of, and I just really want a second chance to carry it on and do a bit extra. So it's as easy as ABC.
All very slick tonight. That was very good. I don't think anybody used even half the time, so well done. And it's not as nerve-wracking as you think, is it?
Oh, it is.
Great, so there's our introductions done. So now we will move on to some questions. And we've had even more questions submitted from students today. So I will go in just the reverse of the order that we've just done. I'll try and mix that up through the next hour. So that means I'll be going to you, Hannah, first. And our first question is, what does accessibility mean for you, and what does it mean for the union?
Did you say uni or union? Sorry.
Union.
So when people say the term accessibility, they often just think about disabilities and often just about physical disabilities, but accessibility is so much more than that. It has to do with people's mental health and neurodivergencies. It has to do with the accessibility of, say, commuter students, of parent students. It's not just one thing. So in terms of accessibility for the SU, it's about we need to make sure that we're targeting all these different areas and making sure that we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. So part of accessibility is inclusivity. Some of the work that's been done so far this year to help that is trying to reform the LSS procedures, because currently they are not good. So that's been a piece of work between myself and the student voice team, and just trying to make sure that they are reformed so that staff know how to support students, and so that they aren't just for the generic dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, so that they're for things such as mental health issues, things sort so for commuting students, for parent students, just people who need that extra support. So that's what accessibility means to me.
Thank you. So now Martin, we'll go back to you. Excuse me. And our next question is, excuse me, sorry, reading has never been a strong point of mine. How would you help engage students from the beginning of their time at university?
Oh, okay. So at the beginning, I do believe that the most important thing for new students is how to find their own footing in university. So from onboarding onwards, you can help them as just be a friendly face for them, and the student union helps that way, as they can find a mentor for them or recommend a mentor. And just how to put this well properly. I need a second, moment.
That's fine. You take your time. Like we said, nobody's seen the questions in advance, so
yeah.
Take your time.
So it's all about finding opportunities and in creating events that will make them feel more welcomed and make them feel part of the uni itself. And that's probably what the most important events at Freshers Week should be. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Martin. So now we'll come to Choto, remembering my order. And our next question is, have you worked in a team for a set goal, and what compromises did you make?
I was working as a team. Yeah, I would say this year for the Great Comeback at the start of the year, it was an event that we brought alumni students to come down to here. We had many different kind of ideas on how to actually put the event together, and we had to come to a compromise. We all got down actually with the team as a team, sat down what we actually want to give to students and what we actually want to offer to students, and what we actually want students to remember for the whole academic year, and try and bring them along through the whole university journey, if that makes sense. We had to just try and we just had to just all come together and actually just sit down and actually, that doesn't make sense. I said,
You take a moment, like I said, you've not seen the questions before, and Martin had to take a breath, so you steady yourself.
So basically, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, no problem. So the question was, have you worked in a team for a set goal, and what compromises did you make?
Compromise. Could be honest. No, I'm just gonna be honest. But yeah, so, I would say we have not often worked as a team properly. I could say that. I'm just gonna be honest, and it's all about accountability. But we haven't come to a set goal, but we have pulled together when we needed to pull together and actually achieve events, campaigns, and activities. For example, I guess I'll say a learning curve will be for when I was leading on Black History Month. But yeah, as a team, we didn't come together properly, we didn't meet the deadlines, but obviously it's time to actually realise and actually sit down and actually work as a team properly, I guess. I wouldn't say that, I guess, if that makes sense. I think that's my answer, I guess, to be honest.
Okay, great, thank you. which means now we'll go to you, Dylan. And your question is, what do you think is the biggest issue that students are facing right now?
Probably a lot to do with mental health. That's a big thing at the moment with students, obviously. There's a lot of stress at university, and it's how we as an SU can then support students with that, help them feel better. So, yeah. Big, long answers.
Well, lots of very short answers, so we're definitely going to have time for another round of questions. So thank you. So we'll just go back round to the start, so we'll come back to you, Hannah. Our next question is, we often see candidates running on a platform of club night or alcoholic event ideas, but what else could be done to better engage and support students outside of their course?
Outside of their course. So one of the great ways that students do get engaged is through our representative networks. So the LGBTQ+ network, the Disability Network, the Mature Parent Carers, Women's Network, and there's always one I forget. Always one I forget. Race and Culture and Inclusion, that's the one. So those are really good avenues of getting students more engaged, because it gives them a platform to share any issues they're experiencing. It gives them that community of like-minded people. It can help you with, say, discovering yourself. I know several people who, especially through the LGBT network, have discovered a lot about themselves and their identity. So that's one way of getting students engaged. I guess another way of engaging and communicating with them is just, I'd say it's right from the get-go, making sure that the Students' Union is a presence within their experience. So something that we trialled this year was, I went and took part in some of the welcome talks in JSS, one of the schools, and I know that for some of the students at least, that then helped them know that they could come to us and they could utilise us and get involved in us, and it's just about promoting the opportunities available, I'd say.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Martin, we'll come back to you via our satellite link. So our next question is, forgive me, sorry. The topic of communication and how to improve it has come up in most manifestos. How do you feel the union has done well this year in communicating?
Well, okay. The communication on union-wise, at least, given the fact that I'm also a society leader, I would say that this is definitely something that could be improved upon, because there were a few things that, union-wise at least, down here in London, we've barely heard about, apart from the newsletters. And so when students heard about it before me or before any other course reps, I was a bit shocked, it's like, how am I going to offer any help about it? So what I did was always just tell them that I need to look after it, and just talk with Dio or with even you when Dio couldn't help me out. So how I would definitely improve on it is to make sure that whenever something gets out, then there is a newsletter that you can read, and just tell the course reps and make sure that there's posters and everything pretty well posted everywhere when it should be.
Great, thank you. Which will now take us back to Choto. And your next question is, how would you make sure there is more equal representation for underrepresented students at staffs?
Focus groups, and I'll say focus groups, and I think you'll start from the very beginning, as soon as they apply to university. and it's working closely to get the data and actually speak to students, like even just Q&As or just understanding their needs and what they stand for, what they want. Everyone's individual. Everyone's individual by themselves, but and everyone wants to be part of something different. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
I
Okay.
don't know. It's just their focus groups. Like that's the easiest way to focus groups on.
Don't worry about it, just having a bit of a sound tweak just there. But you carry on, Joe. That's it.
Yeah. I was just say focus groups and actually having one-to-ones and actually speak to members of the university, actually understanding what groups are there at the university, and because we already are a very diverse university campus, and it's just trying to find and see where the actual places or groups are, I guess.
Right. Thank you. So, Dylan, we'll come back to you for our final question, which is, society committees do loads of hard work that benefits lots of students. How can they be better supported and recognised?
I think the way would be through having meetings with societies, allow drop-in sessions for them to come and chat and explain any issues or concerns, which then allow them to communicate, and then it would be able to let us better understand how they can be supported, because the direct conversations with them will aid that.
Great, thank you. Fantastic. So that's the end of our first round of questions. So you can all breathe out now. There you go. We've started and it's happening, and you've all done really well there. So we'll now move on to the next section of the event, which is our topic discussion. So this is a chance for you all just to contribute and discuss with each other the topic that we give you in a moment. And just as I did yesterday when Silas joined us from London, Martin, please, if there's any technical issues, as I said, please do give us a wave and make sure that that you can be included and that things technically going wrong, and we'll make sure that you're part of that conversation even though you're joining us remotely. So this is Anthony's moment. For those of you who've joined us for the last two events, this is the point at which I refer to Anthony from the voice team, who sat just off camera, and ask him to use his little randomizer that he's got in a browser to throw us out a topic for discussion. What have we got, Anthony?
It feels so important over here, Jamie. So, since the pandemic, we've seen engagement is down across the entire higher education sector, not just the stats. Why do you think this is? How can we get it back?
Brilliant. Just before we jump in, I was keen there off the bat. So just to repeat, just in case anybody listening at home didn't pick that up. So the topic, the kind of question to start you off is, why do we think following the pandemic's lockdowns engagement has dropped, and how do we get it back to what it once was? So off you go, over to you guys.
I'd say that we're going to be completely honest, I feel like we don't know our students due to the pandemic for the past 2 years, because we've developed a new way of learning, new way of standards, everyone being inside for 2 years. So that 2 years has changed that gap. So not many, I'm not sure you see it from the London campus or at this campus, but you can try and see that what I've been told is just been, it used to be an active campus, but now it's just silence. Everyone prefers to stay in their rooms. And I feel like the only way we're actually going to actually get the students back out of the rooms is actually we go to them and actually understand what your needs, what do you want now, basically, what do you want, how can we enhance your student experience, how can we actually make you have a good university time here, because some students just want to stay in their room and just have their whole kind of university experience, just staying in yeah, I'll say that, but I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like we just don't know our students, and the only way we're going to do that is by basically speaking to them and actually understanding exactly what do you need and how we can actually enhance the student experience.
I think something we could do, which even before students actually come here, is once they've accepted their offers, and when we do offer holidays, we can do that research and speak to them and say, what are you expecting from us? How do you want to engage? What are your interests? So that even before they've started, we can start when we're planning like our welcome program, and when we're planning like what we're doing in our first semester, we can make it more targeted to those incoming students and do that research over summer, and earlier, so that as soon as people know that they are coming, we can start tailoring their experience. So yeah, that's my idea anyway.
Yeah. I just think it's just understanding students more, like you say, their priorities, what they want, and then just like make it more bespoke to demographic of students now. So obviously it has changed since the pandemic.
Especially for mature students, because mature students tend to just come into, well, after speaking to a couple of mature students for this whole academic year and working close to them, their understanding is that all they want to do is just come in and just sit their lessons and just go home. There's not that drive to stay on campus, it's not that drive, I want to get some sports. It's like we're not giving them the right time and space to actually, you know what, here's an extra out here, just shoot your child's at nursery and you'll finish your lecture, here's some extra time to stay on campus, but try new sport, try new society, or try go to new other venues. It's just trying to actually give them that kind of like the space for them to actually enhance themselves. It's like, I think I was reading an article, and it said that students will create their own environment, students will create their own society if we actually help and provide them, actually give them an actual platform to actually build on. I think that's what we're missing, and that's what we need to work together and actually achieve. But I'm not sure what you, Martin, what you feel about that. I feel like in London it's a different beast, different environment, every busy city.
Yeah, so how at least we tried to combat it this year was just over the summer, when we knew that we were coming back for this whole year, we sent out a couple questionnaires to level 4s, 5s, and even for between our level 6s, is like what exactly do we want and how we should provide that engagement or that university lifestyle that some of the people already were experiencing, and how to get back to that level. And what we gathered is just to offer them, it's kind of, one of the responses were pretty interesting. They said the university lifestyle after COVID is kind of like a Netflix subscription. Everybody wants it tailored to themselves and themselves only. So we had to try to find different ways. So like every month or so we had one day at the first semester this year, that was like a pizza day, technically pizza afternoon. So like we finished around 3, most of the lectures, and lectures finished around 3, 4, and then we ordered a couple pizzas to the university itself, and then just depending on how many people are in SPP, just to make sure that, you know, we talk to them, so get the engagement going, because hopefully that kind of creates the culture back to where it should be moving forward.
I feel like we can't go back to the culture it was before, because I feel like COVID has changed everything for the, like, something could be for, well, COVID has changed things for the better and some things for the worse. It's like how the university teach their lectures. Like some courses are actually perfect for hybrid learning, but some are not good for like like you said, like a Netflix subscription online. But I feel like we can't assume that students want to go back to the way it was before. It's just trying to find the right solutions and actually try and actually see what students really want in the future. Actually, what could help them basically. Yeah, so what would help them? See what I mean?
I think something we can do, like as officers and as a union, is us going to the students. So some things that we've tried both as an officer team and as a union this year that worked quite well is, for example, when we were doing our Pride Indicator survey and we were calling students up, when we did that we were able to reach basically every single demographic, every single campus, and we were able to engage those students who wouldn't ordinarily know who we are or wouldn't ordinarily input into things. And then the voice team as well, when they've been trying to help with the reformation of the PGR voice, forums. We put suggestion boxes all around campus, which PGR students have been putting suggestions in and giving their feedback, and because we've been putting SU presence within their spaces and we've been going to them, we have gotten more engagement out of people that wouldn't have normally done. So I think it's about looking at the things that we've trialled this year that have been successful and implementing them more permanently. So say doing the phone calls more than just the once, doing them maybe once a semester, having maybe weekly or monthly or something topics which people can input into these suggestion boxes. It's about, we can't always, like, as much as we need the student input, we can't always expect students to come to us. We have to go to them, and this year more than ever I think has shown that.
Ooh, a natural lull in the conversation. Great, I think that's it. There's no point continuing with the topic unless anybody else has got anything to add.
No, not any.
Great, okay. Well, we've actually had a question come through Instagram. Hello, Instagram. Which has been requested as a question to the group. So as a kind of secondary follow-up discussion topic for you all to kind of discuss or give your responses to. Should you be elected, would you be able to put your personal pride aside and endeavour to work together as an officer team? So there you go, there's one for you all to tackle.
Of course, teamwork is a dream, like it's always been said. There's no I in team. If you work as a team, you get things done. I think what makes a team is commitment and natural trust, and that's what we need to actually embed and actually work together. And I think any officer team can work incredibly well if there's actually pride, commitment, and trust. I think. What would you think? What makes a team to you?
I agree. Teamwork makes a dream work, but you've got to work together, otherwise it's just not going to be successful.
I think it's less a matter of pride. I think it's more a matter of having a genuine care and passion for what you do. Because if you're running and you don't have that, then you're not going to be, like, pride or no pride, you're not going to be able to perform and do well. So I think it's more about can you put yourself into it? Can you care and have that passion in the role, less than pride, I'd say.
For me, I think it's more about, just like Anna said, it's about putting care and passion in. But how do you put care and passion into something if you feel like you can mesh well with the people you're working with? So we kind of have to make sure that the people can buy into each other's vision, or like the leader's vision at least. So, and that's when everything will start to click in. Everybody says teamwork makes the dream work, but you need to be able to buy into it first.
I'll even mention, even just yourself down London, if you're elected, like, we'll have to it's just communication. It's like communication and just working together, like, from a distance. Even what makes, like, I know now past COVID, now we've got a new way, so it's more digital. We are now the University Connect. Well, we are already the Connect University. The university strives to be very digital. I think it's easier, it's easier just to be more in contact and actually we have communication. So I think communication is just there as well, I'd say, but I'm not sure if any of you would agree with that or.
Yeah, communication is a solid foundation for teamwork.
Exactly.
Wonderful, lovely. Little bonus topic for you there. Very well done, thank you. So we will have some time to come back to another round of questions. We've actually had a couple more submitted to us live, and there's still a bit of time as I'm working through them. So if you're on Instagram or if you're watching via YouTube, feel free to throw us over a comment on the stream or from the Instagram live. But we'll come back to a couple more questions before we round off. We have had a question through which I'm not going to ask, which is ask Dylan how he does his hair so well. But
lots of effort.
But you know, trade secrets, I'm sure. So instead, I think we may have lost Martin. He's back. There you go. You're okay. I thought you might have fallen
Yeah, I'm
or
here.
something from it. That's all. So instead, we'll just come back to Choto to mix up the order. And a question that we've had through is, what change do you want to see and how would it benefit the student body?
Accountability, holding the university to account for things that's unacceptable. For example, look at this building. I'll say it's unacceptable, it's not unaccessible, even for wheelchair-friendly users, and it's not family-friendly family-friendly. It's just one word, accountability, and that's what we need to hold. And then if things go wrong, you must accept. If things go wrong, you must take account. So we messed up here, and we'll go back and actually sort out the problems and what needs to be sorted. So I think it's just accountability. It's no word, and it could benefit everyone. That's what I would say.
Great, thank you. And now Martin, will come to you. So a straightforward question for you. What is it that made you want to run in the leadership race?
Okay. That's actually been a couple of things, but the biggest one is that I feel like the satellite campuses have been underrepresented during my time at the university. So I figured if I'm already a student ambassador, course rep, and I'm taking part of the union as much as I can, what if I just take the next step and help some of the campuses or even all the satellite campuses just be a bit more represented? And that's, if not me, last but
Great, thank
that's
you.
exactly what made me run.
Great, thank you. But sorry, I interrupted you there, but you've got more time if you've got more to say.
Do I? Yeah, I don't think at the moment there is anything more, because everything is just, everything has been out there. Everybody said everything else, and I would need to be how I feel about it.
Great, thank you. And Dylan, will come to you next. And we have, the next question is, we have a large demographic of commuter students as staffs. How can the university cater to them more?
A lot more spaces for them to relax. Car parking would be nice, I guess, as well. Issues with that. But it's and gives somewhere to relax after the stuff. Maybe a room, so like a place to stay, they can freshen up. They'll have to travel in early in the morning, go to a lecture, and then got some time to kill. Something like that.
Great, thank you. So then we'll come to Hannah. And next question is, why should students vote for you?
That's a big question. So one of the obvious things to say is that I've been in the role for almost a year now, so I've already laid quite a lot of foundations in terms of relationships with university departments, with the union staff, with the Vice Chancellor as well, especially because I've taken a lead role in rebuilding that university and union relationship since he's been put in post. I guess the main reason why people should vote for me is because I believe I have delivered this year. I've achieved quite a lot of things that I'm proud of. There's a bunch of stuff that's in progress as well that I'd really love the opportunity to finish off, and to be honest, I just genuinely care so much about students and staffs and the university and the union, and I've put my genuine heart and soul into the role this year, and I know full well I've not been perfect. Like, I've held my hands up several times and said, like, I've made mistakes, like, I've been learning as I've gone through the process, but I have learned from those mistakes, and I've put my all into it, and I really, really would love the opportunity to just do it all again. So yeah, please put your trust in me. You did it once before.
Great, thank you. So we've had another question sent through to us live. Thank you very much, viewers at home / in the room, if it was one of our audience members in the room, which is a question just for our rerunning officers, so that's Hannah and Choto. So we'll go to you, Chodo, and then you can have the same question afterwards, Hannah, and then I'll have a question for Martin and Dylan. You can both get the same question just to balance things out afterwards. So the question for our rerunning officers is, what's your biggest regret this year?
Biggest regret? Well, I wouldn't say there's been a regret, as I've almost completed my manifesto. I'm my people person. I spoke to many, like meeting new people on a day-to-day basis. I like socialising with students. I'd say the only regret was not delivering enough on Black History Month. I didn't think I did it proud enough. I didn't do enough what I should have done. I know I managed to get the pledge through, but I wasn't proud of what I could have done. I could have done more. I feel I could have done more, but nobody's perfect, I guess. But I think that's my biggest regret. But I've done more.
Thank you. And obviously, Hannah, the same question for you.
My biggest regret from this year is letting the Women's Network down. So I don't know how many people know this, but the Sexual Violence and Sexual Assault Awareness Week was meant to be a joint project between myself and the Women's Network, and we sat down and did the initial planning for it, and I kind of got very excited about it, kind of steamrolled and went full speed ahead, and I forgot to bring the network leads along for the journey, and unfortunately me doing that led to one of the network leaders resigning, and that is my biggest regret, that because I steamrolled, we lost a very, very engaged student. So that's one of my mistakes this year, and it's one that I've learned from, which is why one of my manifesto points is about working with you students and bringing you along for the journey and listening to your ideas, because that's one of my biggest regrets.
Thank you. So a different question, but Martin and Dylan, you can answer the same one, as these guys just got to answer the same question. So the next one on my list is, and we'll go to you, Martin, first, is what 3 qualities make you a great leader?
That's perfectly how to be humble about it. Well, one, I do believe I have a certain charisma that is required in order for people to hear you out and be willing to listen to you. 2, I am a social butterfly, or chameleon, call it however you want it, meaning that if you put me into a room with different people, I will find a way to communicate to each and every single one of them. And number 3, I do believe that as a good leader, you need to be able to listen to what the others want and what's their issues, and then find a way to help them. And that's the best way for it. Just listen.
Great, thank you. So Dylan, yeah, same question for you. What 3 qualities make you a great leader?
So being approachable is quite good, because I like to think I am, so allowing students to just come over, chat, and then be able to just have those conversations and then action on them. So, and passionate, so just anything that I want to do, I really want to succeed in it, which would be good for the role, hopefully. So just achieving the team manifesto, stuff like this. Third one's not still nice, but like being able to listen as well. Like, obviously, it's a very key skill for a leader to be able to listen to what people want and impact on their behalf.
Excellent, thank you. So we've had one last question, which is coming from YouTube, which will be quite a difficult one for me to just throw to one person. So instead, I think I'm going to throw it out to all of you again for a bit of discussion. Could be a bit of a spicy one, this. And I might reframe it slightly. So the question that's come in is, what changes will be made to the way sports events are run, particularly varsity, in regards to the cheating? Ooh. Spicy stuff. So I think really as a discussion for all of you, I think rather than just getting into what happened at varsity this year, because I'm aware that you may have had different involvement in that. So what I would instead put out to you, what are the changes that could be made to the way that sports events like Varsity could be run? Two.
I'll say communication and actually having. I think Varsity should be something what useful for students, not just higher up. I'm not gonna say names, but I feel like it needs to be more student led and actually properly led by students, and actually things be refed properly. Obviously from this year, loads of things happened. Can't really comment on most of them, but it was unacceptable, it was unfair, and it's disgrace, and it's just clearly unacceptable, the things that happened, and it weren't fair for our students, because our students literally put their time and effort in trainings, even the book season, preparing ready for Varsity, and just have that done to them and cheated out and completely out just fairness, and actually with the pride that we had, it's just unfair. It's unacceptable. And I think the only way you're going to do this is actually having a kind of like a focus group or something to come like soon, that actually point out all the problems happening with the sporting games with both KIL representatives and staffs, and actually outline what's unacceptable and what should happen and what should not happen in the future, and we have clear outline rules on what to happen on games and fixtures. I think one of the issues which led to something that happened, I'd say, I don't know, actually, I don't want to just keep on talking to me, I want to get your guys' opinion as well. What do you guys think?
It's still a touchy subject then.
A little bit.
I think, yeah, it does need to just be more communication between KIL students on sports teams, staff students on sports teams, to just really organise it a lot more effectively and understand everything about the event, because obviously it's a very big event for the university year.
I think potentially as well as making sure that there's fair refs and referees from both sides that are present, so not just from one institution there. I think it's also trying to make sure, obviously, I know that there's only so many people who work for the sports centre, but where there may be games with potential issues, like the one that happened at Varsity, I think it would be a good idea for sports staff to be more present at the games, so that should a situation like that occur, our captains and our players aren't left to make decisions themselves and left to have to contest things for themselves. They should have had support and backup, and unfortunately they didn't. And it could have been a non-issue if there had been a staff's sports centre staff member present at the time.
Even a coach, not gonna lie. Even just the basic thing you need for a team is a coach.
Yeah, that team's coach quit a few months ago. That's why he wasn't there.
Yeah, there's no representative, and it really shows when the dodgy decisions were made.
Yeah, that we need to recruit coaches back when they quit, because there's several teams that need them.
Yeah.
I like you, Martin. I think it's the esports Varsity that are there next week, isn't it? I believe. Yeah.
I mean, in our cases, mostly it doesn't, like, cheating on, as in varsity, in the esports side, it's pretty hard to do, because obviously both teams are regulating each other, and then the referee regulates everybody else for that. But the double referee idea is actually something that should be doable, so that way nothing, if something escapes one of the refs, the other ref will have his own opinion on it that will probably not lead to this situation. As well, that's another thing I didn't mention. It's just, I don't know how, I can't even understand how this could have happened, to be frank with you. It's just incomprehensible to me.
We'll tell you after the stream.
Lot of emotion. Always a lot of emotion
Thank you.
tied to Varsity. There you go. Well, thank you. Well done. If there's one thing that's certain, I know I would much rather be a Polly. But
Yes, Jamie.
Martin, we've actually
Oh,
we've actually had a question sent in via YouTube, which is just for yourself, Martin. So as long as you're happy, we'll forward that to you. You were so still and pristine there, I thought you might have frozen, but you're still with us. So
no, I am.
we've had a question through to our London candidate. Would you be willing and able to commute to the Staffordshire University campus in Stoke to listen and meet with students?
I would say yes. Maybe not as often as I would like, but yeah, I would say definitely maybe every month or two. If needed, sure, I can travel there more often, but yeah, that's definitely something I could do.
And I feel slightly obliged to just point out that obviously any successful candidate, wherever they are based, the Students' Union as a charity is there to keep things accessible and reasonable. So if anybody's elected into any position and the travelling is involved, that's something that obviously the union would support for any of our staff or officers in terms of making sure that can happen. It wouldn't be left down to anybody to just, fund all costs themselves or anything like that. So a conversation that I've already had with our London candidates and other people as well, but just to be clear for all of our students everywhere who are watching. Fantastic, okay, well I think it's probably time that we wrap up. Thank you for your answers so far, and thank you to all of our questions that have been coming through online. So what we'll do now is you'll all get I thought we'd lost you then. You'll just get a minute each to just round off, say goodbye, try and sneak in any points that you were hoping to be able to mention but haven't had the chance to, and remind everybody of your hashtags or slogans as well. So we'll stick with you in London, Martin. Would you like a minute to say goodbye?
I'm probably not going to need a minute, but okay, sure. So, guys, as you know, I'm Martin. I'm one of the London students that's running for a full-time officer. I am all about the campus equalities, so satellite campuses should have more opportunities to represent themselves to the main campus in Stoke, or just to have more events between themselves. Another point that is how we as the student union can help the life of the satellite campuses, and that is something definitely I should work on even harder, because everybody living in student accommodations, we just have to find a way how to improve their lives on that. And then obviously, as the question to me was asked, one of my points is all about course reps and the accountability. So yes, I will go to whatever campus you are. If I'm elected, I will go there. And yeah, it's time for satellite campuses to be more heard. Hashtag. Yeah.
Fantastic. Bang on a minute as well, so well done. You did need your minute. So Hannah, we'll come to you next for your minute to round up.
Okay. So the spiel that I've rehearsed, I actually ended up using earlier for the why should people vote for you, so I'm trying to think on the spot now. So as I've already said, I like to think I've done quite a lot of work this year. Several things I've achieved are my No Excuse campaign, Night Out Safety and Spiking, a rebrand of the Ask Angela, and I've done a bunch of sustainability work, just to name a few things. Some projects in progress are work to do with LSSs and lecture capture, trying to get policy put in place. I've done work with the LGBT network, and one of the big things at the moment is the sexual health campaign that I've been trying for months to do, and I'm finally making progress. And looking ahead, things that I want to continue, as well as finishing off the projects that are in progress. I'm hoping to put in some safety procedures to help students both on and off campus feel safer. And I want to do a big push to do with student voice, as I mentioned earlier, be working with you, the students, and also to do with holding officers accountable, which is a point I added after our latest rep council, where it was made very clear to me that as a team we need to. So yeah, just come talk to me, message me, and yeah, it's as easy as ABC.
Thank you. And Chokla, we'll go to you next.
Of course, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm running to be union president or one of the full-time officers next year. For vote why, if you vote for me, I almost completed my manifesto around last year. I gave club society spotlights and tried to boost engagement on this campus, working with staff. Also started working with Staffs TV and then Staffs Radio to try and encourage more students being part of the student structure. For satellite campuses, I really want to work with satellite campuses as I've done this year, as I feel like we could be doing a lot more. Example, I want to embed a brand new kind of a representation structure. I'll hopefully share that to you at some point. But yeah, if you have faith and you actually want me to get things done and want things to happen around the union, please vote for me, and we'll get things done together. And as everyone knows, nobody's just like Cholo. Just had to clear that.
Thank you. Bang on a minute as well. There we go. And there you go. Finally, we go to you, Dylan, for your minute to wrap up and say goodbye.
I'm Dylan, so yeah, I want to do a lot for student health and supporting them, and a lot of communication between students and the SU, really just communicate everything, while also encouraging more society and sports team engagement, and yeah, just where there's a deal, there's a way.
Sure, it's nothing. There you go. Thank you. Fantastic. Well, thank you again to all of our candidates, and well done. This is obviously the last of our Q&A events. There are no more. Sad sound, everybody in the room. Oh, that was nice. Like a panto. So from now until next Tuesday at 10 AM when voting opens, the only thing that's left to do is to check out all of our candidates' manifestos online at staffsunion.com/leadership race. And once voting opens at 10 AM next Tuesday, it will be open until midnight on Thursday. Results will be announced by the wonderful Staffs TV. Hooray sound. Hooray. A little more energy would have been good. And those results will be announced by Staffs TV at around 7 PM, and that'll be broadcast on their YouTube channel and shared on Students' Union social media. So thank you again to everybody present, and get out there and get voting next week. And awkward way from everybody to say goodbye, including you, Martin. And applause is good as well.